Hi everyone, for this sketch we're making use of 2 yards of this sunray fabric and a 1.5 inch elastic band. So let's quickly get right into it. Now the first step is to fold your fabric into two like so. Now after folding the fabric into two, we're going to mark out the full length of this. For this sketch we're making use of a length of 32 inches. And since we're going to be adding a band, I'll be adding an extra 3 inches to this 32, making it 35 inches. Then we're going to go ahead and add 2 inches for folding. Okay, so let's quickly go ahead and just mark that out like so that we can cut this out. So this is the part that we're going to be making use of while making this sketch. Okay, so if you check, we're having 37 inches right here, exactly 37 inches. That's what we're making use of for this skirt. Now, after cutting this out, the next step now is going to be to take this to your machine and then make a stitch. Okay, you know we have just one opening here, all right? So the first step here is just to take this over to our machine and then make a stitch from this point to the end, okay? From the waistline here to the hemline. So we're going to be using 1 inch to make that stitch, all right? So we're making a stitch from this point all the way to this point using 1 inch. So let's quickly do that. Once we're done with that, to bring it back so we can proceed. So we are done making the stitch and this is what it looks like, okay? So we have gone ahead to close this up, all right, and this is what it looks like. Now the next step after this is to go ahead and fold in our waistline. So if you remember when we were marking out a measurement on this fabric, we added 3 inches because of the band we're going to be having on the waist area. Okay, so because of that we're going to fold the waist area by 2.5 inches. So this is how it's going to be. You're just going to take your tape, measure out 2.5 inches on the waistline. Okay, so on the waistline here you're just going to measure 2.5 inches. You can go ahead and use your pin to secure this all round the waistline. Let me quickly pin this down so that we can fold it with ease. Okay, I'm done pinning this down and this is what it looks like. All right, okay, so now it makes it easier for us to make our stitch. Okay, so before making that stitch you're just going to find, you can use any point, it doesn't necessarily have to be the midpoint. At that point you can measure 1.5 inch or 2 inches. I'm going to be making it of 2 inches. All right, so you just mark out 2 inches. Now the reason we are doing this is so that we have this opening where we can be able to pass our elastic band. All right, so when making our stitch we're going to start from this point and then we'll end at this point. We're not going to make any stitch on this point so that we can be able, so that we'll be able to pass our elastic band in there. All right, so when making the stitch all you have to do is just to fold your fabric using 1/2 inch. You just fold it this way and then you make your stitch on this all round the waistline. So let's quickly do that so we can move on to the next step. So guys, I'm done making the stitch on the waistline as you can see, and this is what it looks like. I also have the opening here for our elastic band. I will just quickly pass our elastic band through this opening. Okay, so for our elastic band we're making use of a length of 31 inches. The initial waist measurement for this skirt is 34 inches. Then we are subtracting 3 inches from this. Now this is because the elastic band is not so stretchy. But if we're making use of a very stretchy elastic band, we can take out up to 4 inches from it. So let's quickly pass it through this. Now when passing this through, you have to be careful so that the elastic does not go in completely. Okay, so when you see that you're getting to almost the edge of this elastic, you can use a pin to secure it so it doesn't go all the way into the fabric whilst you're stretching it out. Take out the pin. After taking out the pin, you can make use of your safety pin and just secure this whilst you go ahead and arrange the band properly on the waistline. So we're done. Everything is straight. Okay, we'll just take this over right now to our machine and then stitch this down using 1/2 inch. Once we're done doing that, we'll bring it back. I have gone ahead to stitch this up, the elastic band, as you can see. I also top stitched it, as you can see on this. So now we can allow it to go in completely. Okay, the next step is to go ahead and close this up, this opening we have here. We'll quickly take this to the machine and then close this up. Okay, so let's quickly do that. Alright guys, I've gone ahead to close the opening on the inside, and I've also turned the skirt to the right side, as you can see, and this is what it looks like. The skirt is super easy to make and it's so beautiful. You can rock this to church or your workplace. The final step after this would be to fold the hem of this. Once you are done folding the hem, that is all for this skirt. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.